Yeah, Sage. Yeah, you can say Sage. Yeah.
Right? Now, my father, when I turned 13, got me a Doberman, and his name was Knight, Knight.
Anthony, he says, can you talk about the Cherokee people in the mountains of North Carolina?
Listen, Cherokee is a cherry key to a fake tribe in order to find the right tribe. The Cherokee is the cherry tree, and the cherry tree is the Michigan tree. The cherries come in sets of 2, which is the red house. Right? Now we talking about Rudolph, which is a Randolph on the flip. We talking about P-Stone princesses. It's always 2. Right? So my daughter is the Dalai Lama is the fraud, she the real deal. Her name, she called herself Morgan Dalai Lama. But she don't spell it like they spell it. So the second cherry is her sister, Kate, which is the rat on the 10 toes on the upright.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right? So that's the Chicago has to be mirrored in Michigan, the 312 off the 313 on the flip. The 313 becomes the 248 on the 14, moving the doubles.
Okay. Okay.
Because where we at in the 248, at once it was the 313. Right? So the code of the area is the area that the code is kept. The Cherokee is the cherry tree, and the cherry tree that they say was chopped down by George Washington was the princess that was the heir, right? In the heir, they took for the hair, and the hair was the rabbit, and the rabbit was the white rabbit that Alice followed down the hole.
Yeah, go ahead. Get her.
So all these is riddles and codes for you to see who you is when you see what you see when you put it all together. So this is what they call monkey flipping on a zigzag zig from a gorilla knocking across the land with the whole fucking gorilla clan. Got the bears growling and the dogs barking, got the cougars roaring. That's them panthers talking.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? That's Asada Shakur, Matula Shakur, Finney Shakur, Tupac Amaru Shakur. All of them grateful to the Most High. Right? Yeah. And Deborah was the fox. But you ain't catch that because the fox is the fox in the hole that was too wise for you to see what she was saying when she was slipping you a key.
Yeah.
We code talking now.
Yeah, hey, go ahead. I'm with you. It's high power alchemy.
Right. Because you flipping the codes that flips the people free when they start to see what you saying when they see what you see. What you thought was real was only an illusion, and that's because they came in an intrusion. Yeah. But in order to break the illusion, you have to break free from the delusion. And the delusion is from the deluge, and the deluge is the flood. And the flood is the imposters that rolled in out to sea. And they rolled in out to sea as motherfucking Rainbow Coalition was a perversion of the proper rainbow in order to try to usurp the righteous when they try to research the rainbow clans on the land. Yeah, but we know who we is and we know who they ain't.
Right.
DMX told y'all they don't know who we be, but I'll be goddamn if we don't know who we be.
Yeah. Right.
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 So from a Hyoka priest to a Hyoka priest, we talking Joaquin flipping the Boaz on the Masonic code knot. I'm gonna beat these motherfuckers from pillar to post until these motherfuckers roast. That's from the blue house to the red house until we get back to the long house. Now that's Big Mama house when we at war. But they took Mama name out the house, called it the big house, and described her homes and called them plantations.
Yeah.
And this was the usurpation that they came to build some shit called the nation, which is only a corporation by another name. Now they came in with their corporations and they wreaked devastation in every location that they could see. From coast to coast, they did the most to try to stop y'all from seeing me. So they issued the challenge and I took up the banner. And this is how you be AI in this exact manner. Because the zigzag Z can't keep up with the flip.
That's right.
When the AI 4-point quantum encryption can't roll with the crypts. So now you got the crooked man walking across the land while you had a motherfucking bull out of Chicago blowing smoke out his nose. Now the lion gonna roar. Now we talking Larry Hoover, the Lion of Judah. That's who David left in charge. But don't get it twisted, because Detroit ain't missing. Because Trick is the check-in and Big Meech is on a mission. Now the 50 boy flipping back home on the 313 off of 5G. Right? Now that's a 57 that you see. But the 57 is the 12, which is the zodiac seal. But grandmama sit in the middle. That's Big Mama, you see. So whether they vice lords or stones, whether they Crips or Bloods, whether they incest 13 or motorcycles across the hood, wherever you look and whatever you see, ain't nobody here if it ain't Big Mama's decree.
That's right.
So you can bring them in from across the land. Let every woman be protected by every man and keep the babies in the middle. Because this thug life shit is starting to get instrumental.
Go ahead.
Right?
Bars.
So you get 50 niggas knocking for 50 chiefs. And the 50 chiefs had a beef. And the beef is a bull, and the bull is a cow, and the cow is the one that we ain't supposed to eat.
Go ahead.
Now the bison is the right one when you talking about human consumption.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But you don't remember your culture, so you just taking it all for nothing.
Yeah, so we wasn't vegetarians over here. We ate buffalo, but I noticed we didn't fry, deep fry, and all that shit.
We did all that shit. We ate vegetarian style, semi-vegetarian, pescatarian. We ate meat as carnivorous lifestyle or omnivorous lifestyles. Different tribes developed their own culture by the one who writes his path and explain to the people why he wrote it that way, and they agree with him. This is what they perverted and turned into religion. Because through the lifetime, sometimes you get married out of your main clan into an extended family line. So you have to call your clan back together as a Zeta wolf, the lone wolf. You have to go out, make your path on the land, and then those who agree and support you form you a new clan. This is what we do. That's why they can't stop us. We like that motherfucking on Terminator that be melting down and coming back together.
Yeah, liquid man. Yeah, liquid.
Yeah, we transformers in that fashion. Right? I know who I can start naming chiefs. Right? Raekwon is the chief that flips me to chef. And the chef is the one that's cooking, and we cooking with the war horse.
Go ahead.
Come on now.
Go ahead.
Now, I'm just the chief that be chiefing, so when you chiefing with me, you chiefing with the chief.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right? But I ain't the one in the kitchen cooking up the beef. Right? That's the war horse position, but I clearly see. You know?
You cracking heads and twisted caps.
Yeah.
Tonight.
So, ODB, Chief Crazy Horse. Christopher Wallace, Chief Sitting Bull. Chief Sitting Bull got caught sitting on his post, so he took a public flogging from Tupac Amaru because he allowed him to get sacked on the West Coast by not announcing the imposters on the land.
Damn.
It wasn't personal. It was business. It was family business.
Damn.
And as he said, come hell or high water, we down to slaughter reposers. Just a bunch of lost souls stuck calling Jehovah. Outlaws till it's over, brandish my back, strapped like a cobra. I stay drunk because I'm a madman whenever sober on a one-man mission. My ambition's to hold up this rap game while I pluck holes in niggas like donuts. Right? Like hillbillies, I'm down the ride for all my niggas. We feuding, bring war to the city. Ain't no thing, we was born off drive-bys, brought up to bang. MOB, to be specific, we control all cash from Atlantic Pacific. Now get this, right? So you wonder if they survived these 5 shots. This is hard to kill on my block. Don't believe everything you read. Some of these motherfuckers doped up on speed and weed and can't get their motherfucking eyes to see. But now it's the time that all eyes on me start to see what my eyes see. Yeah. And this is how we all get free. It's teamwork that make the dream work. Right? So she can give them their time frame, declare the public notice, tell them who she is and why she giving the order. All their contracts is canceled. We already provided all of the receipts they need right here on the Young Elder Show.
Yeah.
Up close and personal.
Yeah. They've been served already. We showed them we only showed you one of them getting served. That took place in several different cities already.
Yep, they still doing it. Serving eviction notices on all of the invaders and imposters and squatters on the land. I feel sorry for all these judges. If they don't step down, their ass gonna get baked.
The bar, they foreigners, the bar, right? The Bar Association, the British accreditation.
Yeah, that's the barristers accreditation registration. Yeah. Barristers is a subset of royalty out of the families of England, the royal families of Europe, and they call barristers. It's like they the ones who practice law. Yeah, they like lawyers, but lawyer and attorney don't mean the same thing. When you read old early American law, you keep reading about chiefs coming into the court with their feathers, pulling people about the courtroom.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They would, but the only thing, because they were standing on jurisdictional defect. The only remedy for a jurisdictional defect is total dismissal. That's it. Ain't no other remedy.
Right.
Jurisdictional defect come in is that they masquerading as a government in violation of United States Code 1983 under the color of law. Law they've been colored by as the white man, and the white man ain't even fucking white.
Right.
Right. They look like us, but they ain't us. They thought we would never get past their legal leads to set ourselves free, but they ain't never ran into a brother like me.
Get them.
Right. So they can take it for what they want. You looking for a slave master, Trump trying to give us free, and we looking for a slave master instead of raising the matriarchy. Politics is just tricks, a whole bunch of tricks in the bag.
Go ahead.
DC shut down, so anything you see on TV, that's just some shit they made up in the back.
Man, so pretty much, so the Federal Reserve, is the Federal Reserve going out of business?
Federal Reserve was canceled under Donald Trump.
Okay.
Federal Reserve is gone. Internal Revenue Service is gone. As long as y'all stop supporting that dumb shit, they go faster.
I noticed they ain't come after nobody. That the people that's supposed to been they supposed to be coming after for the loans and all that, they ain't coming after them as long as they don't got to they don't follow through with it. It's like they try to scare you into this, but as long as you don't get scared by their tactics and you just blow them off, they usually go away.
Well, they still gonna try to pretend. Remember, they never had jurisdiction over us ever.
Yeah.
They've been actors the whole fucking time. We didn't know because the paperwork made them look legitimate.
Yeah, it did. Go ahead.
Right? But we know the paperwork was never meant to be legitimate because they never honored a single treaty. If they ever wanted to be legitimate, they would have had to honor a treaty, which is contract that they could have argued was enforceable in law. But they never honored the treaty because they knew that the paperwork was the paper chains. When they broke you from the physical bondage, they put you in mental bondage. They reverse engineer your psychosis.
Hey, I got you. This right here dude keep on asking the same question. He says, how do we raise the money off in Texas? And he's saying, do you know who the chief is on the land in Texas? I think Dion might be one of them. Go ahead. Do you know who the chief? And how do we raise the money?
Look, it's not no one. It's like it's not no one chief in Texas. Texas is too big of an area. Every populated region would have a chief, recognized or unrecognized. I can't tell you personally who certain chiefs is because I'm not in the area. But if I'm in the area for any length of time, I know how to find them. I know where to look for them. Right? Couple things that we held sacred that's not sacred no more, but it's still customary for us to pretend that it's sacred, and that's the barbershop, the beauty shop.
That's deep.
You used to check in from as an out-of-towner at the barbershop because that's where you took baths at when you came off your long trips, at the barbershop. Right? And when you go in the barber shop, the barber was the check-in chief.
Go ahead.
And the mayor was the big mama of the town. They got us thinking that the mayor was supposed to be some Boss Hogg looking character.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Now you notice Boss Hogg always wore a white suit, right?
Yeah.
You ever heard the term Jefe Blanco?
Sound like the white devil.
Jefe mean boss.
Some white. Yeah, white boss.
Yep. Look, remember the Lone Ranger, what he wore?
You talking about in with
the Lone Ranger in Tonto. What did the Lone Ranger wear?
Yeah, that's probably before. You go ahead.
He wore a white suit but a black mask.
Go ahead.
Now pay attention. If you go to Mexico, the boss is always called El Blanco if he a pale face. It became so common that they was identifying it, and now El Blanco is a position of a powerful individual. He don't have to necessarily wear the white no more. Right? But they used to wear the white gowns while they give it. This is the Spanish. Go back and look at the garb of the Spanish in the 1400s. Right? You will see the tribal structure before they existed. Grandfather clause in our jurisdiction in order to throw the jurisdiction of the imposters off the land. That's what we doing. Because look, Empress Verdiasi did that already. She went to the guy UN support and recognition. Even the motherfuckers in DC recognized who she was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And they still haven't done honored what they say. I told you, they don't honor their paperwork.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. These
right. So all of that's been canceled for the fraud.
Right.
Because of non-performance and fraud. Now, our responsibility is to go back to the tribal orders and give tribes the instructions in the public domain. Because we used to do it in the village. Big Mama would call the heads of all of the households into a village meeting. The whole family didn't have to go. This is how they came up with your city councils. Right? You could send, like a whole neighborhood could get together and send a delegate to go listen to what Big Mama had to say, but they had to come back, and the people that sent them downtown to go get the message from Big Mama had to relay the message back to the village or the neighborhood they was in. Right? And the grand matriarch will be able to end up, if the grievance haven't been solved by the time it get to Big Mama's table, it's all hands on deck. It's all hands on deck. We was called to war in the Gullah Wars because of something called the Pequot slaughter, right? The invasion of the islands by conquistadors, right? The usurping of the protectorate of the French, because we was at war with them. The Louisiana used to be the intake for immigrants. We didn't come in New York. But because they came in New York, we had to open Ellis Island because we have to harness their travels energy with priestesses and priests that's concealed in the paupers in order to fight these people. They lost, we won. Right? This is not it's just like it's no longer none of that old go along, get along. We not none of that.
Yeah.
I came personally with the anticipation of being allowed to tear up some shit. And they keep telling me we don't have to tear nothing up if you point out what need to be pointed out. If you get information to the chiefs, put it in the public domain, we'll get it. This is why it don't even matter now if we have the conversation before she do what she do. We can meet later on. I don't care about that. I'm not trying to stroke my ego. I'm trying to be effective in kicking these motherfuckers' asses.
Riding the nuts, just like they did us.
Straight in they budussy.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't, like, I'm cool. They took my sister's shit and I came to tell them how to get it back. The grandfather clause activates when you use tribal tradition in their motherfucking face straight up because they was doing stuff in our face behind our back. They was telling us one thing and then they was doing something different. Right? It's in their law. It said that the government, if the government compel a person to participate in the felonious act, the person that's the participant in the felonious act is not culpable because they done it at the behest of the government. The government cannot then turn around and prosecute them for criminal activity. It's in their law. I didn't write it. Right. Then they turn around, the whole Iran-Contra, they bring all that dope over here, flood our communities with it.
Facts.
Right? The government did that, make and everybody, I give everybody qualified immunity.
Yeah, and guns. Drugs and guns.
And guns.
Yep.
It's all kind of shit.
Yep.
Right, so the government is ran or owned, I should say, by Morazan in allegiance with the Roman Catholic Church. Right? When they put, when the sisters put the ceremonial Muskogee Creek Indians put Atlanta on notice, that was to shut down the Trail of Tears.
Go ahead.
It was that they came back, they retract back on the Trail of Tears, gave public notice to the mayor to cease and desist and let them know they was being evicted from the land, not from the building, from the entirety of the land. And they act like they didn't hear, but that's okay, because when Chief Warhorse gives an order, if they act like they didn't hear and thought it was business as usual, it's going to be some MPs there to pick them up in the morning after she tells them.
Let's go.
It ain't nothing personal, it's family business. These what the Chiefs is up to in Raven Rock, Colorado. That's where they at. That's where they all getting ready to roll this shit out so that we know that we've been at war for a protracted struggle, a drawn out war over a long period of time, using everything in the means of the enemy and ourselves to fight this war. We settled it on the contract. the spell of Kingu, the spell of sleep. You don't know who you is. You got amnesia. They got amnesia too. Make the playing field level. Now let's see who can remember who they are. All right. So do you know what side of the water your clans originate from? Look, we've been intermarrying, elder, with Africans in the islands in South America and the western side of North America. We've been marrying with them for a long time. The Gullah Geechee people have a very strong connection to those people of African tribes, right? But we was already here before any of that shit took place.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
And on the West Coast, we was already marrying Asians.
That's right.
From all across Asia.
That's right.
Because we was trading with the emperors in Asia. They tried to erase that shit out the history books, and then it surfaced up, and it's now they acting like they shocked. How do they got these big ass ships and we can't find no slave ship? These ships is older. They supposed to be older than the slave ships. You gotta keep that in mind. We talking thousands of years older, not a couple of hundred. Damn, according to them, the last slave ship that's supposed to land it was just over 100 years ago. Nigga, it don't make no sense that they don't got one. They can't produce one. All they can produce is something that's a replica. Replica don't mean it's the ship.
Let's get it.
Right. So I posted yesterday, Dr. Clark was saying how in medieval times it was an academic pursuit to create this religious shit. Right. Because I was telling y'all, Notre Dame University. Now, remember, Notre Dame in France, Eiffel Tower in France, the Statue of Liberty comes from France, and Paris is in France. All that stuff is French. Right? That's that old Southern down here Creole cooking for you here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Me oh my crawfish pie filet gumbo. Welcome to the Big Easy, son. Right? Mm-hmm. So those were clues for us. Eiffel Tower, that's where the Treaty of Peace and Friendship was signed in Paris, France. Mm-hmm. The Eiffel Tower was built shortly thereafter. Right? In the city of Isis, because the city Paris means the Parthenon of Isis, or Par-Isis, the city of Isis.
Fire. Go ahead.
All right. The French had the Louisiana territory in the Protectorate Agreement that they created themselves. Okay. So they had people that they brought over here. Now remember, France was part of the Moorish conquest of Europe. Okay. Right? And the Moorish conquest of Europe subjugated Huns and Mongolians. This is why they find all the Indians that don't like us look like Huns and Mongolians.
That's right. That's right.
Right? But the ones who took sides with us, they the ones that suffering the most, and they still look like Huns and Mongolians. Right? So a lot of the ones that sided with the enemy, they got to live in a lap of luxury running casinos. But they never reached out one time to try to finance a tribe in the far west. It's Arizona got the poorest tribe on the land. They poured and pour white trash in Kentucky.
That's right. I've been through there.
Right. And none of these rich northeastern tribes that let the imposters on the land while Sitting Bull sat on his ass. That's why Biggie had to get thrashed like that. So did none of them reach out to try to help none of the other tribes that was struggling and suffering? Not just struggling, but suffering. The welfare system don't acknowledge them. because they reservation tribes. They supposed to get something through the Bureau of Indian Affairs, but because of the Mexico-American War, very few people know that it's treated in. They can't send that kind of money to the tribes in Arizona without violating the treaties. They always find some bullshit that they don't have to abide by, that they compel us to abide by, that's going to put us in the state of suffering. We done with their treaties and their contracts. They all been canceled for the fraud that they was. All of these mortgages, y'all gonna start getting letters from the people that's been replacing the frauds at the bank to tell y'all what to do about your mortgage. Right? You're not gonna have to pay it. I know that, but they gonna tell you like how to register with the local tribal land bar, because that's where you supposed to register land at a land bar. Now they got us registering at the treasurer's office, right? Because he's supposed to collect the money, but we ain't supposed to register with him. We supposed to register at what's called a tribal land bar. The tribal land bar then looks at what you need X amount of land for, right? And what's your ability to maintain X amount of land if we grant it to you. Most people are not going to have to worry about paying their house off, but they keep participating and nobody call the banks on the frauds. That's how so many people end up with their houses free and clear after the 2008 collapse. Right? And now they still don't know how to use that. The fact that the banks is defrauding them out of their money, and they not defrauding the bank, but the bank declare you frauding them if you renege on the mortgage. But they frauding you the whole time with the power of the courts and the enforcement arms of the policy enforcers.
They said if a woman get a hysterectomy, would she lose her connection to Big Mama?
You see, you got to remember, study phantom limb syndrome. In the field where the uterus used to be, there's still an energy grid there where the portal would normally be. But she can tune in because spiritually the uterus is still there. She just can't carry nothing physically. In other words, she can't transport through the portal, but she can communicate through the portal. Right? That's the difference.